Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Overnight Action Report. I am Joe Cusick from the Cusick Group. Securities offered by MoneyBlock. Well, MarketStream.live is up and running this morning, and the markets, well, they're in the red here in the United States and mixed globally. Japan was closed, so over in the Asian Pacific region, we're going to jump in right now and take a look at Hong Kong. One thing that is notable about Japan, if in fact you are looking to trade or add exposure or manage your exposure to Japan, EWJ will be trading during our normal market hours today. We will have normal market hours. Close will be at 4:30 Eastern time. We were going to be off air after the closing bell and will not be back until Monday. But EWJ is the ETF that you could track here in the States and you can trade today. The Japanese ETF went out at 49.70. The options right now are relatively inexpensive. They're pricing in the potential for the remainder of this week for EWJ to move about 1% either up or down. Now, taking a look at the Hong Kong Hang Seng, settled just below the flat line. Select financials were struggling in the Hang Seng, and what was on the upside, though, were some property names. They climbed. That held up the market. There was no notable large cap moves. If you're looking to get exposure to the to Hong Kong and the Hang Seng, look at EWH. Stock went out at 21. That's the ETF that's going to track those Hong Kong stocks. The options are pricing the potential for the underlying EWH to move either up or down about 4% between now and the third Friday in December. So roughly around a 73-cent move. Now taking a look at China. Shed about 0.2%. Again, volume was extremely light in anticipation in front of the holiday tomorrow here in the United States, as well as just lower trading volume, knowing that most traders are off the desk right now. It was interesting, though. We did see a statement from the U.S. Commerce Secretary Penny Pritzker. She said that China indicated that they will have some sort of retaliation if the U.S. levies any type of tariffs that have been indicated as far as through the proposed policy statements coming out of the Trump White House. So maybe some volatility that is coming out there. Again, Commerce Secretary Pritzker coming out with those statements, it could get a little tight, so we're going to watch that. The People's Bank of China also overnight did raise up the fix on the yuan, but that did not help the currency. The currency did retreat against the dollar despite that higher midpoint by the government. There were no notable moves overnight in any large cap Chinese stocks. Taking a look at FXI, that's the ETF I look at to trade China. The underlying went out at 36.88. The weekly options are pricing in between now and Friday that FXI could move about 1.5% either up or down. That's about 51 cents. Vol is still relatively inexpensive there. India, the Sensex gained about 0.4%. There is still a lot of discussion, and actually I got a couple emails. I wanted to spend a second here. There were some questions about when I had reported that the government had pulled certain notes. It was the 500 rupee and the 1,000 rupees notes. Think of it like our dollar bills, right? Basically, they're removing those from circulation. They're going to put new notes in circulation. There's been a lot of controversy there because those denominations, to put it in context, yes, they sound large, but really when you put it in terms of dollars, you're really talking about a $500. 500 rupees is like less than, I think it's about $5 here in the United States. So you're seeing that the removal of this, and it's large scale, is going to add some volatility in the currency markets in India. So that's why I wanted to bring it to light. What we did see in the Indian markets, though, was Tata Steel, Axis Bank, and Tata Motors were all in the move to the upside. Up about between 1.4% and 3.9%. Basically, these four stocks represent roughly almost about 15% of the ETF that I watch to track India and potentially invest in India. It's EPI is the ticker symbol. It went out at 1965 last night. The weekly options are pricing in the potential for EPI to move about 2% this week, either up or down. That's 32 cents. And vol is coming off from its highs, but there is an implied or forecasted move that's going to be potentially violent in EPI, so we want to keep an eye on that. Now taking a look at the European session, again, quiet, lighter volume. Right now taking a look at Germany and the DAX, up, giving up about 0.6% right now. There are reports from Germany that are suggesting from the finance minister it's looking for possible tax cuts in 2017. So you're already seeing that they're starting to lay some seeds for some, let's say, fiscal policies that could be stimulating to the economy. Financials like Commerzbank and Deutsche Bank are contributing to the weakness, and despite the headline that has come out this morning from the finance minister. They fell about 2.6% and 0.8% respectively. We are seeing that exporters like BMW and Daimler are both down about 2%. Daimler being about 6.7% of the ETF I watch that tracks German stocks, EWG. We're going to see if that puts pressure on this ETF today. It went out at 25.09 last night. The weekly options are pricing in that the stock can move either up or down about 0.8%, around 27 cents. And vol is relatively inexpensive in there, so not a heightened expectation of huge violent moves. Taking a look at London, higher by about 0.3%. The FTSE is basically holding up because of the miners. The select miners and utilities still show some relative strength. You're also seeing that the energies are holding up as well. Financials, though, in the FTSE are under pressure. Most notable name is HSBC, down about 0.7%. Now, HSBC is also 5% of the ETF that I watch here that tracks UK stocks. EWU is the ticker. It's trading at $30.17. The options are pricing in the potential for the stock to move either up or down about 1.8% or 45 cents. And vol is relatively inexpensive, so not a heightened expectation of violent moves. France, the CAC trades down about 0.4%. You have Peugeot leading the retreat down. You also have automakers surrendering, like Renault as well. They're down respectively 2.5% and 1.3%. We're also seeing that financials are down. Most notable is BNP Paribas. That's down about 1.5% right now. That's 4.48% of the ETF that I track here in the United States. EWQ is the ticker symbol that tracks the French stocks. It went out last night at 23.48. The monthly options are pricing in the potential for the underlying to move either up or down about $1 going into December expiration, which is the third Friday of the December month. Vol is relatively inexpensive. Again, not a heightened expectation of big violent moves. Now, Italy, we should expect some volatility with Italy with all of the referendums that are on the docket right now coming up on the December 4th vote. The MIB is lower by 1.2% with financials leading the retreat. The most notable name that's on the move to the downside is UniCredit. It's down about 4.7%. That's 5.7% of the ETF that I watch to track the Italian stocks and stock market. EWI is the ticker symbol. That's the ETF. It traded at 21.35 last night. That was its close. The options right now are pricing in the potential for it to move about 1.3% or up or down about 28 cents going into this Friday. So there is some potential for some move, and volatility is moderate. So right now, that is it for the overnight action. We're going to take a look at some of the economic reports that come out at around right now 8:30 Eastern time, and we also have the inventories number for crude. We're going to watch that very closely at 10 Eastern, and I'll talk about that on the opening bell at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. That will be the last show that we're going to be doing here today on MarketStream.live. Then we're going to basically cut loose for some Thanksgiving holidays. So for those of you that I don't get to see on at 9:30, and for the remainder of this week, I want to wish you and your families a wonderful Thanksgiving, and everyone be safe. All right, take care, and we'll see you at 9:30 Eastern time for the What's Hot Now on the Open.